Welcome everybody on behalf of John Henry. This is Jeremy Coffin. He's one of the managers here. And he and I got to talking about this one night, and I was telling him, he got asked and I was telling him about things used to be down here. And he said, well, let's have a little tour. So anyway, this tour, we sort of named it How It Used to Be. And I grew up downtown, which my cousin Ludy knows for sure where I grew up. And I worked 33 years right here at Atlanta Gas Light. I've been in and under every building on Broad. And I started off reading meters, and all the meters was inside back then, 1961. But anyway, and another thing or two y'all think about is everything came through Rome then. There was only the 5th Avenue and 2nd Avenue bridges going west, and the 2nd Avenue going east in the South Broad. And so you couldn't hit another bridge till you got near to the Calhoun on the Oostanana River. Of course, you could take Bell's Ferry, which I did several times. I went across the old ferry with my kinfolk. But we're going up west first, and I'm going to tell you where some buildings used to be. I'm going to tell you a few names of people that I remember real well. And so we'll go from there. Y'all be careful. We're going to stay on the sidewalk. And there's a good sidewalk when we get to 4th Avenue. Okay. Atlanta Gas Light Service Department was right there where I worked for 33 years. On the corner. 3rd Avenue came out, and the big building across from it was Champion Garments. Started off in the back of it, and in the front of it, a long time ago, was Flowers Brothers Tobacco and Rome Radio and TV. A guy named Joe Rothman owned that. My daddy bought the first TV we had from him. It was right in the building, that big building right there was Champion Garments. Anyway, gas company service department, all this comes right here. And, it was quite everything downtown. I'm going too fast. We can tell you a lot more when we come back down Broad about different things. Let's walk the left side of the street. This street did not exist from here up. West 1st Street made a big turn to the left and then went up 4th Avenue. And the businesses all across right there, I'll tell you about in just a minute. And so this was not a street from there up. And Mr. Broom had a garage around there on the curve. I remember him. Okay, imagine now 3rd Avenue went all the way out towards the river. West First came up, and the Greyhound bus station was right there. And on the other side of West First was the ice house. It was big business back in this day. And then coming this way, we had Andrews Taxi. Their phone number was 6565. And anyway, there was buildings all down through here. Well, step out just a little bit further. In the 60s, you'll see that building don't match anything on Broad. They called me, we lived at 110 Adram, said you need to get to Broad Street immediately. Broad Street's on fire, and we need to know where the gas meters are. So I got down here, and about the time I got down here, the whole wall fell on 2 firemen. Mr. England was one of them. I knew very well. They didn't die. They got hurt a little bit. But right here, we had Carlin D's lunch. We had Claire Ellison School of Dancing. We had Rome Plumbing, which P.K. Pennington owned. And then we had that taxi cab, and then Greyhound bus station. And then on the other side of the street, we had Rome News Tribune. It was right there, and they printed the paper and everything. The paper came out in the afternoons then, and rather than Sunday morning you got a paper. And right next to that was Rome Laundry, and the Grant family owned it. They had 2 sons, Porter and Jimmy. Jimmy was a year or 2 older than me, and Porter ended up running the business. Well, can you imagine? There was washing machines, but most of it was clothes dryers back then. So the Rome Laundry was a big business back in its day. And on the other side of West First Street was Pabst Blue Ribbon distributor. He was right across from the ice house, which made it good for people to ice their beer down. But we're going on up. This is Tribune Street, and I don't think it's always been Tribune Street. I'm gonna try to find out. But we're going on up 5th Avenue. Then I'll tell you about West First, how it went across. And on the other side, it went on to the left side of the courthouse up there. West First went all the way up on the other side, right along towards the river. And so there was 2 streets, and the courthouse sat right in the middle of it. We're going up there, and I'll tell you some more when we get to 5th Avenue. Okay, just imagine the street on the other side, and then where that parking lot is a Dock restaurant. And a man named Perry Davis, which he ended up having Woodley after that, he had the Dock restaurant. Tell you one other thing, the state patrol where you got your driver's license was right in that room right there. I got my driver's license. I had to come out and come back and parallel park. Drove around the block. The guy said, I believe you've been driving quite a while. And I said, yes, sir, I have. And I think I started when I was 12 driving. Let's go on down to the corner and I'll tell you about the Coke plant. Okay, imagine a big building right on the corner where that park is. That was Kirkland Motor Company, Dodge and Plymouth, and the street went right between it. All this area right here was a Coke plant, and the ladies were sitting in there watching those bottles go by, if you remember that, anybody. And so, and of course, Mr. Willie and Mr. Alfred Lee's big cars was parked right there. I worked in a Coke plant 2 summers when I was 15 and 16, separating bottles. It was a deal. Let's go on down and I'll show you where Horton's Laundry was.
Is that the recycled bottles you were sorting?
No, this was all the little 6-ounce bottles. This was back, and it had new grape.
Oh, yeah.
And we had, there was about 6 or 8 high school boys worked there in the summer, and they gave us a job. And I actually was the one that drove the first forklift that Coca-Cola ever had, because the old guys were scared to death of it. And Royce Pugh was the plant manager, and he said, "David, why don't you get on that thing till they get over their fear and drive this?" So I drove the first forklift that they had at the Coke plant when I was 16 years old. Let's cross the street. Robert Wilson, that insurance agent right there. Y'all hadn't figured out I have no script for this. It's all in my memory of how I remember how it was. And I think I'm 99.9% I'm right. This was all Coke plant along here. And we'll get to the corner. Right here in the corner was where Horton's Laundry was located. It was a big business too in this day. Get on out to the 6th Avenue, I'll tell you more about it. Okay, imagine right there, about where that white truck's sitting. West First is coming up this side of it, or right on the other side. It's probably a little wider than that. That was the first Rome City swimming pool, was located right there. Right past the swimming pool, which my cousin Ludy and I had an uncle that had the curb market. And Uncle Ted came to the curb market on Saturday mornings with whatever. And they had about 10 booths in it. West 2nd Street started down there where you see the end and went up. And there was only houses on the left side. And that's what we call shotgun houses. You open the front door, you could see all the way through the back. There was about 4 or 5, mainly black families lived there. One of them was a red wine family called one of the boys worked in the coke plant with me. But anyway, the Hoyts, there was terraces where all those houses are. And I played King of the Mountain many a time right there with my buddies. And right on. And right in the backside here was the main fire hall. And on the auditorium. The sleeping quarters was upstairs where you see those windows. They had a brass pole, which I think it's in that fire hall. I went down it several times that they could slide down when they got a call. And so anyway, but right here was our first youth center in Rome. It was a brick building, and they had the first recreation manager's office was in it too. But the youth center was right here. Well, it's about where all that fence is right through there. It had the youth center. And anyway, let's ease on up. I'm going to tell you a lot of people's names that I remember. And I'll show you where I got 9 stitches in my head. Okay, we had the Hoyt house, which they've made all these nice houses there now. And then next door, these was all great big houses too. Next door was the Hills, the Woods, and the Hackett's. The Hackett was Leo Hackett. He owns Forest Hotel. And they had a garage apartment out back, and his son lived there. Well, one of my best childhood friends was John Roger Hackett. And they lived in the garage apartment in the rear. And my other good friend was Jimmy Wood, which they lived next door. And we was playing ball in the front yard right there, and grass was slick, and I was going into home. Jimmy was coming into home, and I lowered my head and knocked his 2 front teeth out, and I had 9 stitches on top of my head, right in that front yard, right there. Right up, probably up there a little bit further up, about Mr. Hackett. The fire department did all their training going up the side of the auditorium. The main fire department was out of there, out of the bottom right there. And of course, then they had the little, which most of those buildings are still in it in the sections of town. If you going up Calhoun Avenue, you'll see a little brick building. That was a fire hall. You're going south of Proud Baptist Church, that brick building right there, that was the South Rome fire. East Rome is on 2nd Avenue, right before you get to YMCA. There's a brick building there. That was the East Rome fire hall. So they all operated, but the main one was right here. And the chief was W.T. McKinney. Anyway, I knew him well. My daddy was a 2-term city commissioner in the late 40s and 50s. And I'll show you a little bit more about how I grew up running up and down Broad.
And 9 stitches with 2 teeth in your head.
Yeah, not 2 teeth now. Jeremy, we need help. See if we can get somebody to help you set that down.
We probably need to outside. Thank you, good man.
We're going to go up the edge of the street. Ain't much traffic, is there?
We do have bottled water down there if anybody gets
If
thirsty.
anybody gets thirsty, I'm going to have one when we get up here to 7th Avenue. main police, Rome City Police, was right there. That driveway wasn't existing then. That's where they jail people. The bars are still in the window around there. But anyway, that was the main city police headquarters inside the auditorium. In the backside of Carnegie Library, which they've added on, the old library was that building upstairs. They had a big playground. Had a wading pool, merry-go-round, seesaw swings, and they put an attendant out there every year in the summer. And so they had a nice park. There was a lot of shade trees along this route back in the day. But we're going up. And that was a driveway went up to the Hackett's. Cut out here, bro. I'd like to go on that, but I don't think I'll make it. I told you about Kirkland Motor. He also was a county commissioner, and I think that bridge right there is named G.C. Kirkland Bridge. It was down there at 5th Avenue. Let's go right up here and I'll show you where the Ford place was. Get your new Ford car.
Let's see, that would have been probably 80.
That post thing to slide down is in that fire hall. There was houses all on that corner. 2 more houses. Okay. Go right out here and stop. Okay. The Ford place was all this right here. It was a Milner Motor Company, Ford. Going that way was going to 2Bs. Right about where that white sign is was all the boys from 2Bs. They would come out and catch a ride, bumming their way back to the village. All that down through there, if you'll look when you're on Turner McCall and see that pond down there, that's how low that street was. It flooded like crazy. And I knew the Sykes, Johnsons, the Lambs, Winfreys. I knew a bunch of people lived down there. The water would get right up where they go. Oh no, down there, that's on the section. The west section, still there. 7th Avenue, 8th. One time, the recreation department would block off that street right there, and we'd have skating parties. They did that one. They did one on East 9th in East Rome, and they did one on Harvey Street right beside North Broad Baptist Church. And they would block those streets off and have skating parties. Okay, the house right up there that you can see the fence around and all, that was one of the real prominent Rome people. That was John Turner McCall's house, the old Dr. McCall. That's where his house was right there. And the house right to the right of it was Miss Adelou Lay, and she taught piano to everybody. I didn't take it, I wasn't smart enough. But anyway, where you see the motel up there, and you got to realize how much dirt and houses have been moved and added, especially like Turner McCall Boulevard. But that's where St. Mary's School sat, right up on the hill where that motel is. Had a fence around it. It was way up high. Big old house. Anyway, I'd like to go on up, but I don't think I make that hill. We're gonna cut back out and hit 7th Avenue, and I'll tell you about a lot of stuff on Broad. Our house, well, I should go ahead and tell you that. Duty knows. Our house was 5 West 9th Avenue. It was right between where Star Cleaners and Verizon is. It was where our house, till I was 13 years old, and they built Turner McCall. And all that down in there where Applebee's and Kentucky, all that's been filled in. That was called Hell's Hollow. And it was all just, if you look down and see how low that pond is down there, that's how low that road going to Sullivan's was. They had to go North Avenue to go to Sullivan's back in the day. But anyway, I know it like the back of my hand. I've been there, done that.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
2Bs.
2Bs.
Will you tell us about 2Bs, what it is? Because I don't know.
It was a rayon mill.
And it was what it was before Celanese.
That was
right?
what the name of it. It was
Mill.
2Bs, and then it went to Celanese.
Okay.
You know.
So a lot of people worked out that way.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of people worked there. It was one of their big employees. Okay.
Baseball.
Oh yeah, they had it.
Actually played.
Well, the other thing about that, when you was talking about that, they had that nice stadium out there back in its day. And when the Detroit Lions was leaving Florida in spring training and going back to Detroit, they came through and played the Sullivan's team every year. And Detroit Lions, Detroit played they ain't Detroit Lions, they're Detroit
Tigers.
Tigers, yeah.
Yes,
They played the
Came down and played.
Sullivan's,
They
2Bs.
actually played 2Bs.
They played the 2Bs mill team every year, and they was headed back from Florida spring training. Okay, we're going on down to the corner of Broad. Let's stop. Okay, the Ford motor started about right there and went. And on this corner right here was a big Gulf station. It was Bailey and Ray. They ran a Gulf service station was on this corner. And then I'll tell you a little bit more going up from there with this house. And there was all good shade trees and all that. There was a house set there. And there's these boys that came to live with their grandmother to go to Darlington, which turned out to be prominent Rome lawyers. And there was the Brinsons. Bob and Evie they came down. They lived in Chattooga County. And Evie came first, lived with his grandmother, went to Darlington as a day student. And then Bob came later years because he's younger. And he lived with his grandmother and then went there. The first A&P was in the middle of the block, right up there. Mr. Webb was the manager.
One last question. Who's in your class? Oh yeah, yeah.
Whoa. Like this corner curve, I'll tell you.
Who's in class with him?
This was a standard service station right here, and it was Stivers and Jones. Mr. Stivers also built 710 house. Y'all, right, when you get there. Well, we got an apartment upstairs. Molly and I got married, that's where we lived. 710 Highland, and Mr. Stivers upstairs. much asbestos, but it never did happen. They came in and started cleaning it up. You'd see the bars back on the back part of the building down there. That was part of the city jail. The driveway did not exist. They had to come in the back. They only had about 3, maybe 4 patrol cars. And the chief had a car, and I think they had 3 patrol cars. They came in the back.
Hey David, Crenshaw and another police officer died right here in this corner in a patrol car. Somebody stuck a rag in their tailpipe and they died from carbon monoxide poisoning. And Crenshaw was my daddy's brother-in-law.
Okay. What year was that? Do you remember?
35.
Probably in the 30s. Yeah.
Before I was young.
Oh,
Yeah, before I was young.
okay. I can't remember.
Way before your time.
Okay.
Way
Well, we had
before.
right over there where the deli is was Big Apple Supermarket. It was right there, and there was also a pure oil service station sitting right in there. Mr. Everett ran.
Where was A&P?
A&P was in the next block,
Okay.
about the middle of the block up there.
But I'd always wondered why they were sitting on this corner, but it makes sense now with you saying that the police station was here.
Well, the other thing is, they had the old traffic lights hung in the middle of the street. From Hyde Park to South Broad, the fire department was the one that activated it. They had sirens on where the red light was. And when back then, Stephen Davenport Huron was right there. Jennings was in North Rock, Daniel was on Second Avenue, and they ran the ambulance service. So when they was going out, they'd call the fire department, and they'd activate that big siren that went off all through town. And the red lights all went to caution. And the other thing, starting in the 5th Avenue down block, there was a policeman on duty in every block, and he was to walk. But whenever those sirens went off, he was to get out to the middle of the street and all. But they were, and Uncle Hardy White, he did 3rd shift, and he had to block where the Greyhound bus go. That was his hangout every night. Our great uncle had he had the block where the Greyhound was, and he stayed in there. The other thing, we get up here and see the wolf. The wolf didn't get put up for a long time. It stayed covered up in the basement of the auditorium. Something to do with the country that gave it to us, and everybody. Huh?
I think I read that
Yeah, something like that. And they didn't bring it out for I don't know years before they put the wolf out.
Yeah.
And it's really. Come on through, lady. We're sorry. We have a little tour. See if she needs a bottle of water. You need a bottle of water? How's it going? highway, but that garden wasn't right there. And it was many a game of touch football played right out there on that lawn. We'd come out of the youth center and get us a touch football game going. Chief McKinney'd come out, these boys are killing, he'd talk tongue tied, he'd say, you boys are killing my guys. Coming up to another landmark that I spent many a day. This is 531 Broad Street. My daddy opened up a brand new fuel oil service station in 1940. It was just had 2 bays, and on one side it had a pit. Right there, those windows wasn't up there. I bounced many a ball off that wall right there. But Daddy stayed here till 1957. He opened it up in 1940, and then he moved up the other side of Broad. But this next block is one that's really you're gonna have to think, because you can't believe how many businesses are down through there till you get down to where the bank is. And I'll tell you what all of them was too.
Yeah.
Okay, imagine a drive-through coming right through the middle, going in. This side was a Packard dealership. The other side was a Studebaker, Andrews Motor Company. Packard and Studebaker. They had a big elevator in the back, and when they got somebody ordered a new car, they carried it up on the 2nd floor and put it up there. You know, but this later years it was a gas company, and this was our Blue Flame room when I went to work at the gas company and all. And another thing that you'll see all up down Broad that was real back in the day is these staircases going in off the Broad. There was a lot of office buildings on down through there, upstairs. Let's go on down. This was Maxwell Brothers and Garnett Home Furniture. Had a big, big furniture store. They had a young salesman come in, out of service, went to work in there selling furniture, ended up to be one of the real prominent Romans, Bill Fricks. Bill Fricks started selling right there with Maxwell Brothers and Garnett. Okay, from here to the corner where National City Bank's at, and they didn't have probably 25 or 30 foot. Okay, we had grocery store. It was Cox Groceries and Howard Ford meat market in the back. It was right here. You come on right on down, and you had Esom Cleaners, Sarge Esom. He had a cleaning place right here. Well, you went on down, and he had the first, that's where the Partridge restaurant started, right here. And then it started in this block right here, Johnny Jacobs and his mama, and Mary Johnson ran the cashiers, which she owned the coffee cup at that time across the street. Mary did. All right, the other thing though people don't realize, Walker's Garden Center started right down here next door. We had a staircase going up. WRGA was upstairs. I remember going to Cheerful Givers. They had Cheerful Givers every year, about from Thanksgiving to Christmas, to raise money. And they'd have people come in and sing and whatever. And anyway, I remember going to Cheerful Givers upstairs in the studio at WRGA. But, the next building was Citizen Federal Loan, which they ended up buying. I don't know where she is, Brinson or what, but where the Brinson boy lives, they ended up buying that and built Citizen Federal up there. Where I was telling you that the Brinson boys live with their grandmother, well, they bought that land, Citizen Federal. Milton Tippett was real good on it. And in fact, your mother worked there for a little while, and she really liked it. National City Bank at the corner. I knew all those people real well. I'd been in there since day one, and they was good to me at National City. I borrowed money when Polly and I got married, and I really wasn't old enough, and Mr. Formby said, "I'm not asking you your age, I've been knowing you all your life." National City probably didn't occupy any more than from right here to the corner. It really wasn't that wide a building. It was real, probably about right that much. It did. Really don't back out the street too quick. Out that way a little bit. Okay, this corner right here was Keith Walgreens Drugstore. And anyway, Jimmy Keith was a pharmacist, and it was Keith Walgreens. And I don't know how he got, I guess Walgreens was, how he got in with them, I don't know. But my Aunt Ollie worked in there too, so I knew that well. Next door was P.J. Henderson Grocery. And he had a grocery store right there. I can picture him right now. And there was a staircase going up, and this building was 2 stories old. That going up there was a lawyer or two, and then J.J. Rush Realty was up there, which his daughter ended up being a real prominent Rome realtor, Sarah Davis Realty, and that went up. This is Esterman, Hyman and Ben Esterman right there. And he was quite a good one. This was Owens Hardware right here, and I knew every one of those gentlemen that worked in there. I've been in sporting goods or shotgun shells. I went to Owens Hardware and all, and I knew every one of them in there, every man in there. And then the little short lady that lived in the back was Mary Stewart, and all. And but Mr. Jolly, Paul Ransom, Glenn Conway, Bob Spearman, Archie Dowling, I knew them all.
Was that Mary Stewart next to Granny? that Mary Stewart?
She was mother-in-law.
Oh,
She was the mother-in-law of that.
okay.
Yeah.
Shirley said she got her first softball glove in that store.
Yeah, probably did.
Yeah.
It was either here or White's. White's had a sporting good in the one side of it. And then, yeah, it was either you came here or you went to White's. Anyway, and I know as much about the other side of Broad as I do this, but I was running up down this side, especially up the other way, from day one, and Mom and Daddy didn't ever worry about me. I don't think they ever asked where I was at. But I had a bunch of friends, and we had a good time. I had to ride that bicycle everywhere. And this right here was a famous store, Gene Hilburn Shoes. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
Gene Hilburn. Hilburn Shoes.
Didn't they move further? Didn't they move further down?
Now they was right here. It's further on down to Earl Cooper. And then when I was growing up, this was Montgomery Ward's, which they had a basement and had sporting goods in it too. And there was Montgomery Ward's, and then it carried into G.C. Murphy after that, and then it started splitting off with all these others. This was either a pawn shop or a dress shop. I can't remember which. But right here we had Blue Ribbon Shoe Shop, which stayed in the business for a long time. And also there was staircases going up. I think there's one right down there. And all these buildings upstairs was occupied by different people. I remember Mr. Harris, he was an appraiser. He had an office up there somewhere, because I remember him. Right there, this green front, Earl Cooper had a shoe store. Right there. Next door, let's see, Earl. Trying to think. Now, Earl was on a little further down. Not sure what that was, but Earl was right here. It was Earl Cooper Shoes. And then next door, these buildings been put together, but right here was a pawn shop. The meter was in the bathroom in the back, and that was the nicest place I've ever been in my life. I had to go in there and read the meter. That was a pawn shop, and the shoe lights fell around. This is Sturgis Furniture right here. Sturgis Furniture. We had some big furniture stores in Rome back in the day. Huh? That was all Sturgis. It was all Sturgis Furniture. They had the elevators in the back corner back there that you could ride up, and they was big in its day. Yeah, they was a real big furniture. I want to point out just a tad of history if y'all are up that way to look at. In the old courthouse building up there, on the very front of it, there's a little plaque that tells you how far we are above sea level. On the front of that yellow building, there's a little plaque. I guess it's still there. It was there for years. It tells you how much further we are from sea level. This is the corner I got called out on. Right here when this building caught fire. This was Tom McCann's Shoes. This right here. They had that. I'm not sure what this was, but this was Eve's Jewelry right here.
So what did it say, David?
This was Eve's Jewelry right here. had another shoe store right here, Southern Shoes. The meter was in a trap door. Back on the right hand side, you had to get somebody to come and guard it while you went on there and read the meter. And then I'm not. You don't need building trust. I did know what that was. I got to think. Okay, we had another prominent Roman worked right here. This was Super Discount Store. And he worked there. I think he was a manager. Then he got his real estate license. And that was Max Toll, Temple and Ryan. He worked right there. This was Silver's 5 and Dime. Jenny, your mama worked in there in the Christmas. Silver's 5 and Dime. Watch that little slow. Oh! This was a famous store for years and years and years. This was a Lad and Lassie. This was another shoe store and I can't remember the name of it. And then, right here was Herb Bloomberg's Star Jewelry. He gave a hole-in-one, he gave him a new watch at all the little golf courses around Rome for years. And they had to put it in the paper with his picture, giving him a watch. And right here, I spent many a day, was a Christian restaurant.
Yes.
Right there. So we would come up there from the gas company and drank coffee 3 or 4 times a day. Knew all the waitresses in there, Miss Palmer and all of them. Oh, trying to think what that building was. Not sure about that. This was a lady's shop right here. I don't know where, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a lady's wear. This staircase going up, okay, we had Georgia and Georgia Studios up there. We had a lawyer or so up there. But anyway, when I went to work at the gas company, you had to come down to Georgia and Georgia, and she made your identification, made your picture and your identification badge. I've still got my first one somewhere. But anyway, Georgia and Georgia Studios up there. This next building was McClellan's 5 and Dime. And it was there for a long time. It was when the dime stores were real popular. And then in later years, Otasco moved from across the road over there to right there. That was what all us boys at the gas company called our company store. Because we was always going in there buying something at Otasco. And so they was there, so they went out of business. This was a real little narrow street. 3rd Avenue was. The KB store sitting right here. KB. Then on the corner was the jewel box. We had the KB store and the jewel boxes right there.
What was KB?
It was men's store. I mean, a dry goods store. Oh. How y'all doing? I'm just happy to be here. Don't have to tell you what this next building was. Everybody knows the Vogue. They stayed in business for a long, long time. The old ladies store. Going up the staircase. The other thing about going up those staircases, there was all kinds of beauty shops. And I remember they were going up there. There was a beauty shop up on that floor. You went upstairs and all. Okay. We had more. Owens King Men's Store was right here where Top Hat is. And it stayed for years and years and years. And Owens King is there. There's another staircase going up. Right here, the front's all been changed, but this was Swartz Department Store. Swartz. I got my first pair of Levi's right there. And they had dry goods of every sort. It was a Jewish family. They was real nice. Jeremy, you wore out? You wore out, Jeremy?
No, sir. Ready to go.
I can't remember exactly what that building was. I wish I could. I know what this next building, which is John Henry's, which we're happy y'all could all come. What did come? I thought we'd have 12 to 15 people. A lot of people told me it's coming. They didn't. But anyway, Penny's department store was there for years and years and years. You know, and went in and out of there a lot. Mr. McDermott worked in the men's side. Great big man. Good one. Shirley remembers a lot of this stuff. Well, anyway, we've enjoyed doing this. I hadn't made everybody feel like I didn't know what I was talking about, because it all comes to me like the back of my head. I really know it.
You did good.
Thank you.
I'll give David a big round of applause. Woo!
Well, I'm glad to pass on some stuff to different people. I'm glad to pass on. I know a lot more about other things too. I'll tell y'all a couple of things. First of all, where the right field line of Legion Field, that was a horse stable. They had a horse racing track over there before the ball fields ever got built. It was harness racing. This lady needs to buy with her baby, I guess. Oh, come on through, man. We're just talking. But anyway, that was one thing, and I don't know why, but I just remember all this stuff like crazy, because I guess I was running up and down it so much. And then working in the gas company in later years, I kept knowledge of it too. But anyway, I know about as much about that side of Broad as I do this one. I remember all that too, about where everything was. And anyway, it's good to see all y'all. Nice to have met you. Nice to have met you. Anyway, so I guess this sort of gets us going here, Jeremy.